Dear sisters, I have been having commitment issues. Whenever a guy asks me out to be exclusive, I just end up ghosting him no matter how much I love him. I had a relationship of more than 5 years and I really loved the guy, but I started pulling away from him, which led to a breakup. I really loved him, but that is how it all ended. I really want to break away from that. Should I call this a commitment fear? How do I go about it? Sisters, please help me.
Can I go?
Yes.
Okay, so I had two things. She says, I have a commitment issue.
Yeah.
She says, I.
Yeah.
So obviously you have control over yourself. So if you feel you have a commitment issue, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You have to take care of what's making you afraid of commitment to somebody else. Because obviously, I'm sure you can commit to yourself. Because so many things that we do, we have total control of it. Unless when you are dealing with somebody else, that's when you don't have control of another person. And relationships is always about give and take. You understand? So if you feel you don't have what it takes to give that much, why do you keep putting yourself through that? Because you said all your relationships always go through that same cycle. You understand? And then I wanted to ask also, on the other side, you said you've been with somebody for 5 years. What were you doing for 5 years? 5 years is long enough to have some kind of commitment as well.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused because there's a contradiction somewhere in there. I don't know what she means by the commitment thing. Being with somebody for 5 years is very long enough for some kind of either foundation or some, you might have put in your time and some other things in that relationship. So if you, after everything you keep saying, you think you have an issue, then don't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Do some self-check on yourself. Ask yourself, why are you even thinking that way? Why do you feel you have to give something you think you don't have? Ask yourself, maybe it's something you went through before. So even though you may not have what you think you have, you still think you have it. You understand? So you can talk to a psychologist, I think, or a psychiatrist, and then let them help you to come to terms with whatever it is. Maybe it's just a fear of losing somebody, not rather maybe a commitment, but maybe losing somebody, and that's what I think you should start from.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for me, I can understand where this is coming from.
Why?
There's something known as attachment styles.
Yes, I was going to say that.
So it's possible that for someone like this, probably lived in a family where both parents were together, and she probably felt her parents had the best of marriages. Everything was okay, and woke up one morning to the news that the parents were getting divorced. So that kind of an experience can actually mar somebody where they feel like nothing is perfect, because when you feel like your parents have the perfect marriage, or you see couples that are so perfect, and then all of a sudden one person wakes up and says, I don't want this anymore. No. So it's probably a protection mechanism that she has. So the 5 years, I can understand. It was probably not a defined relationship. They were just talking, going out, probably with benefits here and there. So she was able to, quote unquote, commit for 5 years.
Yeah.
But it wasn't defined. So maybe as soon as the person says that, look, we've been going on for 5 years,
let's be serious.
Let's be serious. Let's make plans start getting married. Then it takes that thing in her brain that is afraid of commitment. So all of a sudden, she feels like she's going to commit, and who knows, she's going to lose this. In the next, maybe she'll commit, put her heart all in, and then she's going to lose it. So like Gil said, it's more of fear. I think it's more of fear of losing what is perfect, as opposed to inability to commit.
Right.
So it's purely a psychological issue. And I think that she just needs to see a professional. And I'm sure if they engage her and go into her past, her parents, probably her guardians, or somebody very close to her, they'll realize that this is the reason why. So they can go back into a cognitive and sort of like correct some of these things, and probably let her know that no two relationships are the same, and that you can make your relationship what it is supposed to be. Right. And also teach her how to guard against being brokenhearted. So basically, I have a feeling that she's just guarding against being brokenhearted.
Right.
So the 5 years lasted because it was probably not defined. So she was just waking up every day and saying, okay, cool, 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 but her heart wasn't in it. But what was being required of her going forward will mean some level of emotional commitment. And she doesn't want to do that, because if she does that, then she stands the chance of probably getting brokenhearted or something like that. That's what I think.
I'll take it from a Christian perspective or a spiritual perspective. The fact that you wrote, the fact that you said you're not sure whether it's fear. Rosie has spoken about the possibility that it could be you being afraid of being brokenhearted. But usually in life, when I'm not sure what to do, I go to the Word, and the Word of God says that God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but of boldness, sound mind, and love. So it means that, and I always have this prayer that I always pray constantly, that God help me so that I don't become an impediment to my own blessing. You know, there's beauty. God is love, in finding love and being loved in return. Getting somebody to love you is not a problem. So far from what we are hearing, you've been in a relationship for 5 years, you know, but you always withdraw. You always, when things become serious, you are quick to be like, ooh, I don't want to do this. And like, I mean, Rosie and Gail both beautifully said, there's a reason why. It's stemming from something. It could stem from an experience you've had in the past with your parents, with aunties, things that you've been through. You didn't just wake up and decide, oh, I don't want to be committed. But having said that, there's one thing I can suggest to you, that two things actually. Go on your knees and ask God to help you navigate this feeling. Help you have the spirit of discernment to be able to see the right person who comes your way, the person who is meant to come and be a blessing and a part of your life. Pray, and then by all means go for therapy. Go for psychological help. Go for help whereby they can help you rewire, reorient, and then by all means have some faith. The fact that it didn't work for other people does not necessarily mean that it will not work for you. I believe strongly that if you count on God and you ask God to help you navigate things through. I mean, I'm in a preaching mood today, because I believe strongly that the Word of God says, in all things acknowledge me and I will direct your path. So whatever, I always say, if it's a relationship you're about to embark on, ask God, make God the center of it all. Include Him, and trust me, He will come through for you. He's never let me down. If you're patient enough to pray through it and you stay holy in it, God will make sure you find the right person, and you will be happy, and you will not experience the whole divorce thing. And then you never know, sometimes too it's spiritual, whereby you're so close to, you know, that person who is going to be a blessing to you, and then now it's like, oh, all of a sudden, no, you don't want to be a part of it. So there's definitely something. The spirit of fear is there, the anxiety, you not being sure. We all don't know tomorrow. But one thing that we look forward to in life, I speak for myself, I'm not sure about everybody, but one thing that makes life beautiful and worth living for is love. God is love. To love and to be loved in return the right way by the right people constantly. So please pray about it. Go for therapy by all means. I don't believe in doing just one and leaving the others. You have to do both, because the most important thing is that you realize there is a problem.
All right, so what if she's not Christian?
So if you're not Christian as well, God also listens to Muslims. He listens to, so if you're a Muslim as well, please, I beg you, pray. God will come through for you if you're Muslim as well, because I do have Muslim friends, and I do know a lot of Muslim people who walk right by Allah, and Allah has actually come through for them. So by all means. But you see, what I don't like is most of the time when you embark on these relationships and you're not sure about what the future pertains, usually when you get intimate with people, it clouds your judgments, number one. And then number two, it makes it almost like opens up a door of negativity. Okay, so you don't want to leave that door open. You want to stay focused, especially because you are not sure, and I'm not sure where you're also coming from. So by all means, keep things clean, keep things holy, take it to God and ask God to help you. And while you pray about it, you realize that with time, these obstacles will be removed from your way, and the spirit of fear will not be with you, because you would know that at the end of the day, it's not just you making that decision, but you're also having help from God, and you're also having help from therapy and stuff to be able to make the right decision.
Right. So we've talked about attachment and detachment. What about the desire for perfection? What if, she starts this and then at the long run she feels like, this person is not perfect for me, that's why I have to leave?
She's not perfect herself.
I
so
don't think,
why would we
but
come
I don't
from
No,
think
that?
because some
perfection-
people actually...
You see, like Gil said, the fact that she was able to sustain a 5-year relationship,
That could have been...
I don't think there was everything perfect
Of
for
course.
5 years.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
human being that can be perfect
Yeah.
for 5 years. You can be perfect for a moment, but there are so many. But the fact that she was able to sustain some form of a situationship for 5 years, it means that I don't think she has a perfection issue. If it was like all her relationships, the longest has lasted is like 1 month, 2 months. Then I would have said maybe yes, she has a perfection because she wants a thing to be of a certain nature.
Standard.
But I don't think that's it. I think for her is the fear of
Fear.
loss,
Yeah.
or the fear of not being able to be in control, or
So
the
fear of independence or change?
not change.
Not necessarily, because she
It's
can
like-
be with somebody
She can
for
be
5
with somebody
years.
for
It's
5
not-
years,
that's- yeah.
but she's afraid of commitment. Because the moment she begins to commit, it's a more serious thing. It's not, so for instance, somebody can be with somebody because, you know what, I need someone to help me finish school. Or I need a companion. I need someone that I can go out with occasionally.
I need someone I can have a
someone
baby
I
with.
can have those things. But
That's
the
fair.
moment, maybe for all you know, the reason why she left the 5-year relationship was because she found herself falling in love. And she didn't understand it. She didn't want to, because she felt like that would be a recipe for disaster. So she has to pull out in time before she actually falls. And I was just thinking that sometimes there are also people, sometimes the best counselors are actually people who didn't get it right.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually engage people who have probably had a failed marriage before and have now gotten it right with the second one.
True.
And some haven't gotten it right.
And
even
there
with
are
the
some
third
too
one.
who haven't gotten it
They're
right with
still
the second
learning.
one, but they'll be the best people to give you good counsel,
Sure.
because sometimes most people who have divorced, when you engage them, you realize that about 60 to 70% of them wished they had just waited a little bit more before they did what they did.
True.
Most of the time, divorces occur in the moment of anger, in the moment of disappointment. Something has happened, you are angry. But I realize that there are a few people who actually wait to traverse those storms and then things get better. There are some divorces that are warranted, like there's nothing that could be done to salvage it.
Yeah.
But most people get divorced, and when you engage them, you realize that there's some form of regret for opting for the divorce sooner than later. So when you engage some of these people who have been there and then they've left the marriages and now they wish they hadn't, such people, they're able to, those are practical examples that can actually counsel you for you to know what to expect, for you to certain things are normal, and give you the tools to be able to navigate those things. Likewise, you can also engage people who are also in it 20 years, 30 years, and things seem to be going okay. You can also engage your religious leaders, like she has said. And then even in the community, sometimes there are astute people that, quote unquote, are wise men or wise women in communities. You can listen to some of these people. But what I want to tell you is that, like Olivia mentioned, love is a beautiful thing. Not everybody experiences the true essence of love, but don't do a disservice to yourself by preventing yourself the opportunity of experiencing love. Funny enough, people like this, they get correct people. Oh.
Yeah.
Those who are like, oh, I want to love, but people who are like this, they are the ones who actually have correct love knocking on their, because they are not desperate for the love. So sometimes you realize that correct people knock on their doors and they end up turning away correct people. So let your guards down a little bit. See a psychologist. but let your guard down a little bit, a
Leave a
little
little.
bit of trust,
Yeah.
a little bit of faith. If you are Christian, a little bit of faith. If you are Muslim, a little
Still,
bit of faith.
faith.
If you are Buddhist, a little bit of faith. Whatever faith you believe in, a little bit of that. Allow somebody to come into your life and trust that these people are not perfect. Just like you are not perfect, they are capable of mistakes, but know that once you truly put in the effort, and that person also puts in the effort, the likelihood that this will be a sustained relationship is possible. So it's just a little bit of faith. Yeah. That
To
should be
quickly
fine.
add to what Rosie was saying, commitment comes with responsibility. So you need to have that at the back of your mind. Could it also be that you find the responsibility part of the commitment daunting? So sometimes you need to face that fear head on, and you need to understand what commitment means. When you say, I commit to this person, what does it mean? What is my responsibility to that person? What is entitled of me to that person? And what am I also expecting from that person? So you need to also educate yourself on that, embrace yourself, and know that it's not always a bed of roses, like everybody has said, and it's not always perfect. But once you have decided to make a commitment to that, you are psychologically prepared that should it go well, should it not go so well, you can work at it. And commitment is about every day an opportunity to forgive, an opportunity to love more, an opportunity to be the bigger person, an opportunity to do things better. It's never rosy. It's never a bed of roses. So once you have that thing at the back of your mind and you pray about it and you're like, your story is going to be different. You're going to do things differently. And find somebody who shares the same goals as you, who shares the same thoughts as you. Finding that person who you gel with also is like 90% the work done. Finding somebody who appreciates you, how you think, how you do things, somebody who understands you will help. So have those things at the back of your mind, that you need to get somebody who understands you and who shares your vision
Right,
with
right.
regards to relationship.
You have anything to add, Gail?
No, I mean, we said everything.
Right.
Yeah, I think you see, sometimes we worry too much. You know, life should be simple. You know, yeah, life should be simple, because I've said that before. There's an end goal to life. You know, all what we are doing, we're all going to die at the end of the day. So learn to live in the moment and just let things happen. Like sometimes just let it happen. Like take a risk sometimes. You understand? That's
playing
what
too
life
safe.
is about. Learn
Right.
to live in the moment, because tomorrow is not promised.
Right.
You understand? So
Responsibly, though.
of course.
Anyway, thank you, sisters. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the second story.